Hello and welcome to GM Runs Game. Tonight we're going to be creating a character for the Alien role-playing game by Free League Publishing. We'll be creating a Colonial Marine that you can create along with me and make any changes you want to make to while you personalise your character. We'll be using the Aliens core rulebook to build this character. There are other books available which are below me, but most of this stuff is going to be available with the exception of the Colonial Marines Operations Manual, where you really expand into this career. It's all going to be available in this core rulebook. Other than that, so as you can see, we've got a little bit of blurb to my right about Colonial Marines and a nice bit of artwork. One thing I will say about this game system is that the artwork in it is incredible the whole way through. If you're buying the pre-built scenarios, you get incredible maps. You get beautiful stuff throughout all the books. To the right of that, Vasquez-esque artwork shows us a nice snapshot of what we need to know quickly about Colonial Marines. So mechanically, their key attribute is strength. Their key skills are close combat, stamina, range combat, and then they have some unique career talents, which are banter, overkill, and past the limit. And we'll briefly cover that. We're really only going to be going into banter because you need to be buying the books if you want to play the game. But we'll cover off banter, how and why you would want to choose that, why it's useful. And then a little bit later on in the video, we'll look at the personal agendas, signature items, the gear, the appearance, etc. Right, let's get started. So let's head over to our character sheet. This is a fillable character sheet which is available from the Free League website. There are printer-friendly versions available elsewhere as well, because that's a whole ton of black that I don't want to be printing off. But we'll fill in this one for now, and I'll link the character sheets below, including the printable friendly one. Okay, so the first thing we're doing is choosing our career, which, like I said at the start of this video, we are going to be a Colonial Marine. The next thing we want to look at really is the attributes, which are these four main boxes bang in the center of this character sheet. This is your physical and your mental capabilities. So we know that as a Colonial Marine, the core attribute for us is strength. Across all the attributes, we've got 14 points that we can spend. We must have 2 in all 4 of these. We can't have any more than 4 in any one of these. And that's only with the exception of that key talent, which will change depending on the career you've chosen. So the first thing I like to do is stick 5, which is the extra bonus you get for it being your core talent, your core attribute, stick 5 right into that particular attribute. For us, that's strength. We know also that range combat is really important for Colonial Marines. So let's stick 4, which is the regular maximum that we'd be able to do. Now, we have wits and we have empathy left, and we can choose either 2 or we can choose 3 to put in that. It has to be at least 2 though, it can't be 1 and 4. I think with medical aid that can be quite useful. Command can be really helpful when you're managing the stress mechanic, but observation can be super useful at seeing things to be able to hit them. So I think I'm probably going to stick 3 in the wits and maybe somewhat predictably 2 in the empathy for the Colonial Marine. The next thing we need to look at are the skills, and those are all these points around the attributes. So close combat is a skill, as is stamina, as is observation. So we can have 3 in our career specific skills. So they were close combat, they were stamina, and they were range combat. And then we can have 1 in any of the other skills. Now, at the beginning when you're making your character, you only have 10 skill points to use. So you might not necessarily always want to put 3, 3, and 3. We've got 5 in our strength, so I'm probably going to take 1 out of stamina, leave it at 2. That'll give me 2 more ones to use. So where I've got 3 for my observation. Probably going to stick 1 in there as well. 3 for my wits. Stick 1 in observation to give me 4 dice when I'm rolling that. We'll go into how that works in a minute. And then the next thing I'll probably do is stick 1 in medical aid, because if people start falling, it can really start to snowball. So lots of people might need medical aid. So let's talk about what these numbers mean, and let's talk about how we work out whether or not we're going to pass a test or not. I'm sure you will have seen it. There's loads of videos available, but basically, if your GM asks us now to roll a close combat check, so if we want to make a close combat attack, we're going to add the close combat skill number, which we've got as 3, and we'll add our strength attribute, because that's the attribute close combat is linked to, and that will give us 8. We will then roll 8 d6 dice. For any 6s we get, that is a success, even if we only get 1. If we get more than 1 6, there are some cool funky things you can do, and if you do not have anything, so say for example we're making a heavy machinery roll where we have got nothing in the skill, but we've got 5 points in the attribute, like lots of different games, we would roll then the 5 attribute points. So we would roll 5d6, and we would hope that we'd be able to get a 6 with that. That's basically how the skill checks work in this game. There's a little bit of extra complication if you absolutely suck at these, or if you start getting stress, but that's not a character creation video topic really. Okay, cool. So we've got attributes, nice. We've got skills. So the next thing we're going to look at is talents. So we are choosing just quickly the banter talent. So that's when we're in a safe place, we can reduce our stress and the stress of all those around us, player characters, by 2 instead of a 1. When in a safe place, reduce stress by 2 instead of 1 for each turn spent. So that can be super helpful if the mission is coming towards a close and there's a little safe area before the big boss maybe, or if you've played a lot of Aliens and you want to get ahead of the game and you notice people are starting to accrue a few stress points, you can really bring that down with 2 instead of for a 1. It just lets you counteract what the game master or game mother in this case wants to do, but you can't use it every time, and amazingly there aren't that many safe places in this game, so it's a nice little one and done to try and tip the odds in your favour, because this game is, or certainly can be, super deadly. Cool. Attributes we've got, skills we've got our talents. Right, let's have a look at some other stuff that we can start filling in here. Let's have a look at the name. We are going to be Walter One Shot. Maybe a sharpshooter. Marine. Let's have a look at our appearance. We're going to be 6'2". We are muscular. Got some Predator references in there. Muscular, American, often seen chewing a stogie and flexing their biceps, because why not, have a bit of fun with it. Okay, cool. So that's Walter. One of the next things we're going to look at is his personal agenda. Right, so let's shoot back to our other page. Okay, personal agendas. Now this is narrative stuff. The signature item, the personal agenda, this is all about the fun stuff that you get to do with your character. So if we're making our character like is being suggested here, we need to choose from one of these 3 options, or we can decide one for ourselves if we've got an idea that we want to roll with. So let's see what the options they give are. You're a decorated hero and you need to defend your reputation at all costs. You once helped cover up a war crime no one must ever know, and the death of your body has spooked you. Now you secretly fear combat and confrontation, and you need to overcome your fear. that last one for me sounds amazing. So death, let's pop that in. Death buddy spooked me. Scared of combat and confrontation. Need to overcome. There's just so much amazing role-playing stuff that you can do with that. Okay, so that's typed in. I forgot to take you with me. That's typed in that top left section where it says where it says personal agenda. Death of body spooked me. Scared of combat and confrontation. Need to overcome this. The next section that we're going to look at are relationships. So we have one buddy and we have one rival in this system. They can change. It's not like it's a hard, fast thing. But let's say, for example, the role is basically a rival is someone in a role play sense that you don't get on with, or you try and sabotage, and a buddy is somebody you do get on with. So let's say maybe we're friends with the roughneck on the crew. Normally I'd put names here, but we don't know the crew right now, so let's just put roughneck. As I'm trying to keep Walter fit and he's running around, he gets to talking to the roughneck, and he shares the story of the death of his friend, and that he needs to overcome this fear that he's got. And the roughneck maybe is sympathetic. Our rival, and this is probably a super common rival, is the company agent. He maybe has no empathy for the death of my friend. This is partly cool. It is what it is. You know, you're paid well to compensate for any loss you might suffer. The fact that you're scared with combat and confrontation is ridiculous. Do your job, and maybe that less empathetic tone has made him a little bit of a rival for you. Okay, cool. Let's have a look at other stuff we can fill in. So stress we don't need to worry about right now. So stress is something that your GM will dish out to you as you play the game. That's the same also with radiation. But health we should fill in. So your health is equal to your strength. So we've got 5 health. So let's just cross out 5 of these boxes. Next up is experience points. Again, that's something that will be discussed at the end of your sessions or the start of the following sessions, depending on how your GM wants to do it. Critical injuries, we've not had any yet, thank goodness. Consumables, generally air, food and water would all start at about 4. Power is slightly different because maybe you have a motion tracker which has a power supply of 5. Every time you want to use that, you roll 5 dice, and if you roll any ones, then that power is reduced. So that power number often is dictated by what you're using, as opposed to just a base level of power that you have. Tiny item we don't need. Encumbrance is 2 times strength, I'm pretty sure. So let's stick that down. Okay, so now we can have a look at some gear and some signature items. Okay, let's take you back over to the other page. Okay, signature items. So choose one of the following or come up with one for yourself. A bullet that you survived, a lost friend's dog tag, or a trophy from a defeated enemy. That middle one, lost friend's dog tag, sounds nice to me with the agenda we've got there, being afraid. So let's go ahead and choose signature item, and we'll do lost friend's dog tag. As you can see, we've just input that there just above the gear and below the tiny items. Signature items in the game you use to reduce stress as well when you're in a safe place. Okay, let's have a look and see what gear we've got, or the options. Okay, so choose 2 of the starting items below. You also get D6 times 100 in cash. Okay, so the options are either an M41A pulse rifle, which is the Hicks, your standard pulse rifle, or the M56A2 smart gun. Now that's your Drake and your Vazcas, Stay Frosty people, mince them down weapon. The second category is an M314 motion tracker, or 2G2 electroshock grenades. Below that, you've got an IRC Mark 35 pressure suit, which is about protecting you from the vacuum of space. Or you've got M3 personal armor, which is about protecting you from incoming damage. And then below that, you've got a signal flare, or you've got a deck of cards. So in most cases, in most things that I see, when you want to be a Colonial Marine in this game, maybe it's the first time, maybe if you do it a few more times, less so. Most people want the pulse rifle or the smart gun, and generally speaking, most people get the M3 personal armor because they want to live, which is understandable given the world we're going to be playing in. So let's head straight to the armor section. So let's stick in M3 armor. Armor out. M3 armor has got an armor rating of 6. That basically means when you have wounds allocated to you, you roll that many number of dice, and any 6s reduces the damage by 1. The next thing we're going to stick in here is an M418 pulse rifle. I'm a grunt. I'm not a flashy smart gun operator. So the M418 pulse rifle, this information is available in the book. It's armor piercing. It's got full auto, and it's got a grenade launcher. Its bonus is +1. What does that mean? Well, it means when I go to shoot this weapon, I'm going to add my ranged combat number, which is 3. I'm going to add it to my agility number, which is 4. That's 7. And then I'm going to add +1. So I'm going to be rolling 8 dice when I try and shoot this rifle. Now the damage is 2. And the range for this rifle is long. Now if we are shooting outside of that range, that bonus dice might go missing, and there can be some negative effects. I also like to stick it in here because you can lose stuff. You can drop gear, you can be disarmed. So I like to double up on my note keeping. M418 pulse rifle, and we've got our M3 armor. Okay, don't fail me. A little bit of a failure. I got $300, just below average. That's okay. It's not the end of the world. All of these things will also have a weight to them. So the weapon, for example, has got a weight of 1. The armor, I imagine, will have a weight of 1, and that will add up towards your encumbrance, and it will stop you being able to pick up. Basically stops you being able to be a total walking tank. Okay, so let's have a look and let's just review our character. So we are Walter One Shot. We're a Colonial Marine. We're 6'2". We're muscular, American, and we're often seen chewing a stogie and flexing our biceps. We witnessed the death of a body, and it spooked me. Scared of combat and confrontation, I know I need to overcome this. One of my key mechanisms to try and get over that and try and avoid those things is my banter. So, because I'm scared, I developed a slick tongue, and I'm able to de-escalate stuff either through laughter or through sharp comments, and I can reduce the stress in the room by 2 instead of a 1. I get on really well with the roughneck people when I'm exercising. I see, and I do my best to stay away from the company agent who basically just treats me like a number. And I am a person, I'm not a number. I know that because when it's quiet, I hold on to the dog tag of my lost friend, the one who I saw murdered brutally. It calms me, but only for the moment, and only a little bit. I'm down to my last $300, and when we get to Sevastopol or Novograd or wherever we're going to, I intend to pick up my paycheck and honour my friend with a cold beer and maybe a little bit more equipment to protect me, to make sure that I get to deliver that dog tag back to his family on Earth. Right, ladies and gentlemen, that is character creation in the Alien role-playing game by Free League Publishing. If there are any other characters you'd like to see me make, or any other systems you'd like to see a video like this on, let me know. If you like what you've heard, subscribe, like, and if you're interested in the system, down below you can see all the different products that Free League currently offer for this. My advice would be the starter pack. You get a load of awesome stuff in there, a good price point, as well as a cinematic adventure that you would normally think in a starter pack would be a one-shot, but easily furnishes 2 or 3 sessions for a brand new group to explore the twist and the tale of the Alien universe. Have a great night, and I'll see you next time. Take care.